What's up, Liron here, and after many requests, I'm showing you how I paint this beautiful statue scene. My emphasis here, and it's something really important, is on not darkening the background to be black, because that way you lose saturation, is leaving it kind of a mid-value rather, and that way it really shines through. Let me show it to you up close so you can see more details. I posted this on Instagram and other places, and a lot of people wanted to see how I approach this kind of thing, so I'm showing you everything from start to finish. Let's get started. Okay, so we'll get started, and I got started and I didn't like the result. I erased everything and we're starting fresh. So I just put in a few proportions. This is the top of the hair. This is the edge of the hair where it meets the what do you call it, forehead, and this is the bottom of the face. Okay, so I'm gonna do this kind of a line to connect all of these. The group of hair to the left, kind of like this. Now, the proportions may not be exactly the same. That's fine. I'm going to try to do it as close as possible, and then the paint is going to do most of the job anyway. The eyes are going to be approximately here. The nose is going to be somewhere around here. That's going to cast a shadow onto the lips. So this is the basic, very basic proportions. Before we get in the face, let's put in just the neck. That's more like it. Neck through here meets this at the same height. This is the shoulder. Curving around there. There's the wing. The wings aren't going to play a major role here, so that's not as important. Now here we have the hair kind of going around itself, which is really cool. I like the way it's done. Like that. And then we have another wing here. So I'm just going to start placing in the different elements of the face. So that's the nose. There's going to be this triangle here. From here it goes up top, meets this line, but there is a bit of a triangular shape here. There's the nostril, another nostril with a very gentle shadow. Nose is casting a shadow onto the upper lip. It's going to be somewhere around here. The lip has a very simple shape here, kind of like that. Then we have the shadow, and it opens up like that. We have the lower lip connecting to the side of the chin, connecting to the mouth. The eyes are going to play an important role here. So here we have this cast shadow connecting to the eyes. I'm going to get rid of some of the guidelines. They annoy me just a bit. And here we have the eye. This goes down like this. We have the eyelid. That's basically the only thing visible here, really, and only a part of it is visible because it's all in the shadow, so that's that. And then what's really interesting is we have a sharp line that goes through here, and then it turns into a kind of more blurry line, and then we have a sharp line like this. We have the eyebrows shape is a little better defined, just a little better. Then we have the eyelid, but here we can see a little more of the details and the different shapes because of the light coming from the left. So here we go like that. Later on with the brush I'll be very focused on getting it to be as accurate as I can. But just to give you some, I don't know, better understanding of what's going on here, this is a shadow. This entire thing is a shadow. This entire thing, aside from the eyelid here, is a shadow. All the way through here is a shadow, shadow, and here we have a shadow as well. So hopefully that makes sense. The rest is rather easy. You just have these shapes of the curls, and that's I'm going to improvise with the brush, like so. And that's it. Now the emphasis here, again, is going to be to avoid just using super pure black color, even if it's mixed from other colors. I don't want to use pure black here. I want to use a lighter value that will really show the colors themselves, okay? So that's going to be our emphasis for the painting stage. So we can actually move on to that now. Okay, so let's get started. And as always, I like to put emphasis on colorfulness or just enjoying myself and using kind of whatever colors I like. So I'm actually going to start with this spot in the hair. The reason for that is that I don't have to worry that much about evenness or being too quick here, because it's all kind of separate. This is very similar to drawing in many senses, so that allows you to have fun and not worry too much about, you know, drying time and working fast and all of that. Okay, now as we get more towards the bottom, we'll have to start worrying about these things. And my goal here is not really to create a highly detailed, necessarily, you know, finished painting, but I do want to create something beautiful that works for me. Okay, I didn't even do a first wash. I don't know why, intuitively that felt like the right move. Maybe I was wrong, but I'm gonna just keep everything that's light as a highlight. I don't know, we'll see how that works out. But in any case, this line, this is exactly where I need to fix my drawing inaccuracies. Goes a little more curvy and around there. Now here you can't do too large of an area with the exact same color, so I'm varying it a bit. Switch into a bit of red. And notice how beautiful it is, because it makes you feel like it's reflected off of somewhere, and that's really cool. It's an effect I like to achieve. So here I'm going to leave a bit of a highlight on top, cut back here, and then I can pretty much push this all the way to the bottom. Now, while this is still wet, I have an opportunity, obviously, to put in some more details, so let's do that. And actually, let's switch to a smaller brush and do some wet and wet. I need some dark blue, maybe a bit of red, get rid of some of the paint, and then I'm going to put this kind of around the bases. There's quite a lot of dark areas, and here as well. And the more you can do wet and wet, the smoother the painting is going to be. Okay, that's really an important thing to understand. You won't always be able to, it's not always possible, and sometimes you need to rely heavily on a spray gun, or just, you know, having, of course, the paper at a bit of an angle and all of these shticks. But, well, it's not really a shtick, it's actually the way you're supposed to do it. But sometimes you'll have to rely on all of those, but sometimes it just won't be possible. And that's fine. So on to the other side of the hair. So the light comes from the left, so here it's going to be a little more shadowy and a little more connected, and I have to get ready to fill in all of this area, okay? Now what I want to do is use a bit of pure blue here around the shadows, just to have, again, some more interest. And this entire painting will pretty much start to really connect well as soon as we get to the background and all the other details, okay? But for now, we're still at the initial stages, so everything is still quite basic, and it may not look exactly like, you know, something that's a finished result. That's fine. I'm gonna warm it up here near the bottom. Now what's important is it's all connected. All of this area is connected, so I can actually paint right over it. You do need to just be a little careful and pay attention to the edges and make sure you're not crossing them in a way you shouldn't. So everything you can see here is simply the eyelid. So I'm gonna paint around the eyelid like so. It's really fun sometimes not to do an initial wash, I have to admit. Just saves some time. Now here's where I need to be careful. I'm gonna paint this part. Now here, I have to blend this edge. That's really important because it's blended. It's a rounded cheek, and I want to make sure I'm loyal to that. Okay, so here we go. Blended it, not perfect, but that works. A bit more blue here near the bottom. A bit too strong, so I'll add more water. And go around here. Now I have to remember to continue the face, because I'm still here. And there's still all of these shapes to deal with. I'm gonna leave a tiny highlight just for the nostril, then work my way around here. Now this is where you have to pay a bit of attention, because you want to make sure you don't mess up these shapes. Now the lower side of the upper lip has some yellow reflected light from the bottom, which is a really cool effect that I will try and get here. So a lot of yellow in this part. And then I'm gonna move back around here with a bit more red. And let me zoom in a bit, because we're working on this very detailed area and there's no reason for me not to show it to you in more details. Hopefully you've seen everything well so far, despite this small distance. But in any case, here we go. That's it with the face pretty much. I will continue this line a bit because there is a bit of this very light shadow on this side of the face. It's very light, so, and that connects somewhat to this shape, and then we blend this edge and just a bit of the paint here. This brush, I don't know why, it's better for blending on larger pieces of paper. So sometimes what I'll actually have to do is bring a piece of toilet paper and kind of do this thing, and that'll blend a little better. But in any case, size you're working on can have a big influence on different aspects of the painting process. Now I do want to do some wet in wet. Here especially, I may have lost the wetness. That's fine. You know what? I'm gonna leave it. I lost the wetness there. That's cool. What I do want to do is fix this shape here. So I'm just blending in this transition as much as I can. Still not gonna be perfect, but pretty okay. I'm gonna switch to more yellow because there seems to be a bit of a reflected light here at the bottom. So a bit more yellowy, and connect it to this cast shadow by the head. And what you see me now do is I'm working on the smaller details, but in just a moment it's going to be much simpler. We're doing now the main bulk of the painting process actually. Now what's cool is that this kind of shifts gears into more blue around this area, so I want to get that effect in. So here it is a little bluer. Let's get some stronger blue in here. Kind of like that. Make this shadow underneath a bit strong to create a better separation with the face. Here we have a shadow that's essentially really blue. Connect these two areas. This shadow goes around the shirt or cloth or whatever that is. It's all marble anyway, but then we have a couple of cast shadows. We're going to use a combination of oranges and greens to get them in, like so. Like that. I really like this stage because it's so fun and free and kind of loose. You don't have to worry too much. Now there is a gentle shadow around this shape, so let's connect it already to these shadows just to get it flowing a little better so you can see. So here we go. Sorry about that. Sometimes I forget what's in the crop of the video and what's not. And then I do want to blend that edge like so, just a bit here as well, and that'll better define the shapes here at the bottom. Now we still haven't taken care of the other eye, so we'll do that. Again, this side's a little more in the light, so let's do a bit more yellow. Added a bit of Indian yellow there as well for the warmth. Eyebrow. We're gonna try and do wet and wet here. Hopefully that'll work out this time. It's a bit of a smaller area, so it's gonna be easier. Fill this part in all the way to the bottom. Hopefully the shape makes sense. I'm just painting it as I see it, and then I'm gonna switch gears here to a bit of a darker color. I'm gonna start applying it here around the darker spots, under the eyebrow, around this line right here, and like this. And hopefully that makes sense and comes together as an actual face. Now I want to do this side. Let's wet this area a bit. I'm taking a bit of a risk, but I actually don't want to wait. I want to do it now, so let's just do it. Hope for the best. Bit of a shadow here. Blend that right in, like that. And the rest we'll do on an additional layer. So now, we have a bit of a shadow under the wings, but as this isn't the center of attention, I'm going to do this really fast. So we have this kind of shadow, and it's going to be fairly muted and gray. Then I'm coming back with some water, blending the edge, like so. And that's it for this wing. And then we're going to do the same for the other one. See, very simple. I don't overcomplicate it. And now we can work on the background. everything is pretty much dry around the edges, so let's get to it. Now I want the background to be vibrant and fun, and I'm going to zoom out a bit. So I want the background to be fun and fairly light, dark still, but not black. Okay, so let's get started and see what we get here. So if I'm going to start with this kind of thing, that's a little too light, but just a little. So let's add a bit more paint to it. And now we're getting there. And I do feel like it should be based on green, because there's a lot of greenery in the original reference photo. And here it's important to leave those highlights we talked about earlier. Okay, let's close off these areas. A bit more water. Now notice how fast I'm working right now. Now I have to really pick up the pace because I'm filling in a larger area. Okay, so that's, everyone has to work fast. It's not, when you get experience, you learn tactics and different strategies so you don't have to stress too much about it, but you still have to increase the pace just a little bit if you want to get things done freshly and in one go. Okay, see here it's starting to dry on me, so I have to be quick and careful. A bit more water, a bit more red. A bit more red around, maybe a bit more blue around here actually to contrast. Bit of a highlight, and all the way to the bottom and all the way to the wing. Down the other side as well, kind of the same thing. Making sure to leave the odd highlight here and there. And we're pretty much done. And what we got is, notice the sense of light. It's all thanks to putting the background, but we haven't lost the transparency and the beauty of the paint due to going too dark in the background, which is something I used to do a lot in the past, and then a little more in the present, so I'm starting to fix that as well. Now what I want to do is start putting in some of the darker details, and we're going to start with this part. The mouth itself should be darker. We have this shadow under the nose. For that, now I'm going to lighten things up a bit, come back, and you always want to look here. You always want to see what I do in the palette itself. Connect this kind of like that. We got the nice shape of the shadow. Here we need a lot more shadow. This part is darker. And because this is such a small piece, some of it is really much more free and fun and fast. When you're working large, you have to worry more about doing things on time, let's say. So now this part should be a little darker than the face. So I'm starting to gradually darken it, but it won't be as dark probably as the reference photo. So I still want to preserve some uniqueness in my version. Here we have a bit of a shadow right around here, like that. We have shadows here that are really important, so let's get a bit of yellow as well, and a bit of everything really. But they're going to be a little warmer, and you see in the really dark spots I'm putting in those shadows, like so. Here as well. It's very impactful to put a shadow just under a highlight. Creates an interesting contrast, but you want to make sure you don't overdo it, okay? Because that can become a gimmick very fast. So you want to make sure to avoid that. Now here we have a bit of a darker area. Still here under the eyelid as well. And finally, I do want to put in a small shadow here, but then I'll blend it right in because it's very gentle. And also on the other side, we have a very blended, gentle shadow. Let me put it, maybe use a warmer color. I keep flipping and using warmer for the right side, despite it being in the shadow. So here we go, a bit of that yellow, add a bit of red just to give it some more substance, and expand it using water, and kind of blend it in. Now we have a bit of a better expression of the face, or impression of the face rather, not expression. And let's get rid of some of the paint here. I'm gonna do that again with the toilet paper, like this. And blend this part as well. And I think with that, you know what, let's just connect it here. There we go. Let's clean the brush a little more thoroughly and then blend it up. And yeah, I think we're good. It isn't as yellow because I started with the paper white, okay? Had I started with an initial wash, I would probably yellow up the statue itself significantly. So just letting you know that's an option. In the original painting I did do an initial wash, but here it didn't feel like the right choice. I'm just adding some, you know, details on the shadow that are on the statue that are, you know, maybe a bit of mold or rust or whatever it is. You can see it in the reference photo as well, and hopefully that makes sense. I'm thinking if I'm missing anything. There are some details on the wings, but they're so outside the center that I don't think it's really smart to put in the details here. Let's put a bunch of these folds or creases here. And you know what? I think we're pretty much done here. Let me show it to you up close. Maybe just, you know what, this is what I forgot. I wanted to put in some more details that are a little higher. So like that. But aside from that, this is it. We're done. Here is the final result. Again, it's pretty white, not as warm as the original one, simply because I didn't do an initial wash covering everything up with yellow or anything like that. But I do think it works really well. There's this shadow also here. And you can keep finding more and more things to add and reduce, and you can go on forever, but at some point just ask yourself, is this going to benefit from what I'm doing? Is what I'm doing improving the painting? And if the answer is yes, do it, and if it's no, stop and move on to the next painting or to the next thing you're doing in your life. You don't have to really, you know, overwork every single aspect of the painting. You really just a couple of light, you know, details and some things to tell the story, and you're done. So I hope you enjoyed this one, and now let's wrap it up. So this is it for this one. I hope you enjoyed seeing the process. I have a lot of interesting things in store for you. I'm slowly trying to figure out how I can increase the amount of content I share with you. So instead of just doing these 3 videos, I'm going to try showing you more of what I do in a kind of a vlog format, but more on that in the near future, because it's still work in progress. I'm still trying to figure it out. Basically, I don't have time to edit all the videos. There's no way I can do that, so I'm trying to delegate some of that, and we'll see. Hopefully some things will connect nicely, and you'll get to see more videos, more posts, more quotes, more things that will help you. So let me know in a comment down below what's your biggest, if there is one, takeaway from this tutorial. And also, I would really appreciate it if you tell me what the thing is that you're still struggling with, that you still feel like you need help with, and you want me to address in a video, because as you see, you ask for a topic and I address it. So this is it for this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the bell button for notifications, and I will talk to you again in another vid real soon.